Anything you do want to get good at in this world, there is going to be some sort of competition either right ahead of you or right behind you, trying to outperform you. If you do want to perform well and get ahead of your competition, there's some things that you need to implement into your life to ensure that you do prosper over those guys that are challenging you. You need to know that you are the man, you need to know that you are the one, and you need to know that you can overcome them, and you need to know these few principles that I'm going to talk about in this video that are going to help you move past these guys. First things first, make sure that want to compete, and make sure that want to be better than the next guy. Make sure you're focused on something you're actually passionate about, because I guarantee, I can tell you right now, if you do try and focus on something that you do not care about, you will burn out well before that person. The reason why people do so well in their endeavors in this world is because they're obsessed with their work. They're obsessed with whatever they're doing. That's what propels them to be the best in whatever field they're in. If you're doing something for an ego or for money, finances, or just to look cool or anything like that, you're gonna fail, because you're not gonna have that deep down want. When you get to your lowest point, you're not gonna be able to reach from within that energy that you have inside you that these other people are gonna be able to reach from within them. You're not gonna have that pure, true want inside you to use for energy like your competition is, if they're passionate about this thing you're trying to pursue versus you who are not passionate about it. When you get tired, you're not gonna be able to use that energy of a pure want to actually keep pushing you forward, and that's gonna make you, it's gonna make you fail. You need to make sure whatever it is you want to work on is and compete in and work really hard on, you need to make sure it's what you want. You can't do it for an impure reason, because when you do get to those very difficult times, you're not going to be able to push past like they are. And once you do find something you are passionate about, eventually it's not going to feel like work. You'll be motivated to do it, and it's going to make you happy to do it. It's going to make you confident. Another way you can be more confident and get ahead of your competition is keep track of all your time. Write your time down from the hours of 8 in the morning, if that's when you wake up until bedtime, which would be 12 if you're pulling a 16-hour day and would like to sleep 8 hours a day. Keep track of your time, organize it, figure out when you're going to do what scheduled blocks of time, because you'll be more likely to get important things throughout the day if you do have a set schedule versus just finishing one thing and dilly-dallying on to the next task, wondering what you're going to do after you finish one important thing. Take some time in the morning, figure out what it is you need to do for that day, and block off time for it. Not planning will not give you a sense of direction. You won't have a good goal for the day. You're just going to be mindlessly wandering, and you're going to be trying to do the first thing that pops into your head all day, and that's just going to turn into busy work. You don't want that. And once you do make that schedule, make it a routine. Repeat the same thing either daily or weekly, whatever your schedule looks like, because eventually once you do get into that routine, you're going to get into that schedule, and your brain's going to get used to doing the same things every day. It's going to start to feel less like work. You're going to know that's just who you are as a person. That's going to turn into, that's who I am, instead of that's what I have to do. Make a schedule, make a routine, stick to it. It will get easier. Your body and brain will get used to doing that thing every day, and it's going to make you better than the other person who has to force themselves to do it every day. You're more likely to get the work done if you're used to doing it at specific times every day. Start journaling. Journaling is good for a few reasons, because it allows you to record your thoughts, think more slowly, and get new ideas from actually thinking slower, because you cannot write as fast as you think. Journaling allows you to actually think about the day. If you're anything like me, you think too far into the future, and when you do journal, you think about the present. And I know the day you're writing about technically is the past, but I like to call it a present because it's the day you just lived today. And when I journal, I'm able to talk about the day I just had, figure out where I went right, figure out where I went wrong. I'm able to better self-assess myself and help myself where I need it, and look at the points where I am strong and continue to be strong in those areas and improve on it. It keeps me calm. It relieves pressure off my head, just talking and thinking through my feelings when I'm angry or upset. Anytime I'm like angry or am like fucked in my head for the moment, I take out a journal and start writing and start talking about what exactly is making me upset. Number one, it helps me slow down and focus on something individual, so my thoughts aren't sporadic anymore. It helps me identify the problem, and more times than not, once I do identify the problem, I'm like, you know, this is fucking ridiculous. Why am I getting mad over this? This is stupid. It also promotes a lot of new ideas for me, because while I'm writing, as I said before, my thoughts are more slowed down, because like I said, you have to, it's a lot slower to actually write your thoughts down in a journal versus actually talk them out loud. When you're writing slow, your mind is super focused on one thing, and it's giving it a chance to think. And I often think of a lot of my new ideas, things that help me get ahead of of people in the world while I'm journaling. It's kind of like meditating in a way. You're going slow, thinking about something slowly, and allowing new ideas to come in as you work. And don't get me wrong, journaling can be difficult, especially if you have shitty handwriting. It could be a turnoff. You can also type, and if you don't want to type, somewhere to start, I do suggest actually writing it down, either typing or physically writing it with a pencil or a pen or something like that. But what also is a good thing to do is orientate your thoughts, basically just like you're journaling aloud. The only part that is bad about this is your thoughts may be a little bit quicker, so some ideas may be missed, and you don't have record of what you said unless you record yourself. But let's be honest, you're probably not going to go back and look at recordings of yourself. But talking aloud is good as well, because you're actively talking about a problem or a situation at hand, and you can hear out loud, and you can almost hear how it would sound to another ear to figure out if what you're saying is valid or not, if it's a good idea, if it's going to move you in the right direction or the wrong direction. And I've also used it in my life when I'm practicing for certain proposals or business plans or something like that. If there's a new conversation I want to have with a partner of mine, I'll sketch out a little skeleton of what needs to be said, and I'll actually orientate in my own words what should be said in that conversation. And that's when I'll go back and listen and figure out what can be tweaked, what was something I said that may have been stupid, what was smart, what I should add on to it. It's good to prepare for important conversations. It's going to help you be more charismatic and well in those important conversations, and any conversations in general, because you're practicing getting your thoughts aloud, you're practicing speaking, you're practicing sharing your thoughts and ideas, you're practicing using your oratory muscles in your mouth and your brain. You won't stutter as much, or used to speaking aloud, and you just get used to talking to people, and you just sound better in general. You give yourself more opportunity to have the floor. If you're tired of journaling sometimes, this is also a route you can go. But again, I do strongly suggest you keep record of something, but this is also good if sometimes you don't feel like journaling. What a lot of successful people do is think ahead. They are always 10 steps ahead of everyone. Don't just stay in the present moment. I know people are, oh, stay in the present to be happy and all that, blah, 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 blah. But if you truly want to be good at something, I don't think you can stay in the present moment for too long. You do have to assess future situations, what could happen. You have to see what is happening in front of you right now and really ask yourself, okay, A is happening right now. If A happens, what B will that turn into? You need to look into the future, see what kind of chaos can be caused by the A that is happening right now, and better prepare yourself for that chaos. So you need to learn to look ahead, look at problems, see what they're going to evolve into, and you need to look ahead to dismantle problems as well. Once you do that, less hardship is going to come to your life, and you're going to have more time to focus on what's really important, just getting good at you instead of fixing yours or someone else's problems. You'll just always be a few steps ahead of your competition, and that's what you want. Once you're ahead of them, you know more than them, and when you know more than them, you perform better than them. You need to be conscious to get ahead of your competition. You cannot be too cocky, you cannot be too confident. You have to always self-assess to avoid missing mistakes. Yes, confidence is good, but delusional confidence is good too, but there's also some bad that comes with the delusional confidence. When you're too confident, you think you can do no wrong, you think you can make no mistake, and once you become that guy, yeah, it may bring you some short-term success, but you're going to fail in long-term success if you're not going to be able to self-assess and see where you're going wrong and always think you're right. You have to question yourself, and you have to surround yourself with non-yes men. And when I say yes men, those are people who you ask for advice and they just tell you what you want to hear. You can't be around people who are just going to tell you what you want to hear. You have to be around people that are going to tell you when you're wrong and steer you in the right direction, okay? When you're making important decisions, you have to think about what that important decision will mean for you in the future. You can't just make a decision based on what's going to be good in the moment. Like I said before, you have to assess the future, figure out what exactly you're doing in the moment you have to figure out how what you're doing in the moment is going to affect what is going to happen to you later on. Always think ahead. Be conscious with people too. Learn how to read body language, learn how to read a room, learn how to just read a social interaction. You can really learn a lot about someone's ambitions and wants and needs by truly just listening and figuring out what it is they want. You cannot not be good at people and trying to get better at whatever it is you're trying to get to do, because you're going to need to talk to people and learn from people to get better at whatever it is you're trying to do. Learn how to talk to people, learn how to be good with them, learn how to be charismatic, learn how to Learn how to be good in social situations. Be conscious of the room you are in. And always ask questions. Never assume anything anyone tells you is true. Always question it. And I'm not talking about being paranoid or anything like that. Don't be paranoid. It's just don't take anyone's advice for granted. Always question it slightly. Figure out if what they're telling you is the actual truth or not. Because if you blindly listen to everyone, you're bound to make a mistake somewhere, because chances are most things people tell you are not true. Getting ahead of your competition is going to require you taking in as much information as possible. You need to always be learning. You need to get your mind in a headspace of always wanting to learn something new. You need to get your body in the habit of doing that. You need to get to the point where it is not a chore to learn something new. You need to get to the point where learning something new is exciting to you. You can't wait to get home at the end of the day to learn something new. That's how you're actually going to get ahead of your competition, because that's you becoming addicted to it. And a lot of times trying to force yourself to learn something new may seem pointless sometimes. I know there's been a lot of times where I dedicate hours or blocks to learning something, and there's been entire blocks before where I took nothing out of that. But what I am actually doing when I dedicate time to learning, I'm putting myself in a situation to discover something that can resonate with me versus not putting any time into learning at all. So if you've ever heard of the 80-20 rule, it's basically for every 100% of work you do, 80% is basically stuff that's not going to help you, and only 20% of it is stuff that is going to be valuable and help you in the long run. So just by putting myself in that position where I am learning something, about 20% of that time is going to be stuff that is going to resonate me. And the more I do that, the bigger that 20% will grow relative to the amount of time I am dedicating to learning. You need to always have more knowledge in your competition, because when you do have more knowledge, you are going to outperform. You're going to know more than them. You're going to know more to help yourself be better in the situations that they are bad in. You're going to be more informed. You're going to, like I said, just know more, and people are going to listen to the guy that knows more, and the guy that knows more is always going to come out on top because he is smarter. This one's a weird one, but it's a true one. To get ahead of your competition, be nice to everyone. Be a people's person. Be that guy everyone smiles at when he walks into a room. Because in doing this, putting yourself in that situation, you're going to open up yourself more opportunities to meet people who are going to help you on your journey, instead of being that asshole who only cares about himself and doesn't want to help everyone else. He's gonna make his friend group and overall just social status smaller, because he pushes everyone away. The guy that is that guy that is good at things is the guy who learned to learn from people. He learned how to make friends, and he learned how to make people like him, so he could learn from them. They would make him better. The guy who's an asshole, he doesn't know anyone. The guy who's really good, he didn't get really good by himself. He got really good from the help around him. He didn't burn any bridges that closed him off from people that were going to help him get good in the end. He was nice to everyone, and in doing so, he eventually ran into people that were going to help him on his journey and become the best in the world. When you needed help, people remember what the hell you did for them, and they'll help you in return. These are just some of the things that you need to set yourself apart from your competition, how to get better than them, how to prosper over them, and just how to get good at anything in life. You need to be the guy that works twice as hard all the time. Remember, live pure to your desire to actually do a good job. That is the true key to happiness. Putting all your time and effort into something you actually care about in this world.